Hello and welcome everyone, it's your boy, Robo Armadillo here, and today we're doing another Dark Souls challenge run. Previously, I've done a crossbows only playthrough, which has its own video if you want to check it out, link in the description. Today's challenge is the warrior only no leveling challenge. First, let's go over the rules of the challenge. The only equipment I can use must be the same as on the warrior starting class. Consumables and rings are allowed, summons are not allowed. Secondly, I cannot use souls to level up throughout the entire playthrough. I will be attempting all bosses during this challenge. And finally, there are no glitches allowed in this challenge. With that out of the way, let's jump into the warrior only no leveling challenge. I named this character Warrior for the warrior class and because I'm quite anxious about the difficulty this challenge will present. Since there's no leveling up or new equipment in the Undead Asylum at first, the start of the game plays exactly as normal. The Asylum Demon is as easy as always, and apart from me getting greedy and then hit at the end, the tutorial boss goes down without much of a fight. Upon arriving in Lordran, I grabbed the various soul items scattered throughout Firelink Shrine, as well as the Humanity, Homeward Bones, and a few others in chests. I then head for Undeadburg, grabbing the Ring of Sacrifice along the way. In Undeadburg, I grab the rubbish and buy the bottomless box off the merchant. Then I head to the Taurus Demon's boss room, grabbing the 3 gold pine resin and killing the crystal lizard and getting a Titanite chunk. The hollow that kicks the flaming barrel dropped me a Titanite shard, which will be quite useful. Firstly, I dispose of the crossbow hollows on top of the tower and start the boss fight. I start with a plunging attack, which takes off a quarter of the boss's health. I then lure the Taurus Demon away to get a second plunging attack on it, and then I start attacking it as normal. Thanks to my last challenge, I've gotten pretty decent at avoiding Taurus Demon's attacks, and I'm able to beat it without any trouble. With the shortcut ladder active, I'm going to do a bit of quick soul farming by getting the Hellkite Wyvern to do its fire breath attack on the hollows on the bridge to kill them for souls. I then head to Andre and buy enough Titanite shards to upgrade my longsword to +4. Then I kill the Baronite Knight to get the extra Titanite shard and upgrade my sword to +5. I grab the Firekeeper soul in the church in New Londo Ruins and upgrade my Estus flask to +2. I then run past the enemies in the church to the Bell Gargoyles. Gold Pine Resin makes this fight a cinch, and both gargoyles go down in less than 30 seconds. With the first spell of Awakening rung, I kick Knight Lautrec off the cliff to spare the Firekeeper and get his Fap ring. I then head into Darkroot, first killing the Crystal Lizard and getting another Titanite chunk. Then I grab the Wolf Ring. The extra poise this ring grants will make it the main ring I will be using alongside the Fap ring. With the extra souls I have, I buy more Titanite shards from Andre and upgrade my Heater Shield to +4. Next is the Lower Undeadburg. I hide behind the fire to make the dogs kill themselves and then fight through the Hollow Thieves to Capra Demon. I first run to the top and kill the dogs, then I wait there for Capra Demon to fall so I can get free plunging attacks on it. I repeat this process until the boss's health is low, and then finish it off normally. I unlock the shortcut back to Firelink, and then buy some purple moss clumps from the merchant. I then head into the depths, grabbing the large ember on my way down. I kill the channeler to stop him interfering in my fight with Gaping Dragon. At the depths bonfire, I kindle it to be safe, and then use my human state to fight Kirk to get a humanity back and some souls. Gaping Dragon is a very tanky boss, at least when you're fighting it at early levels, so this fight took longer than most, around 4.5 minutes. This boss's attacks are fairly easy to avoid. The most annoying part is when it steps on you, not as part of an attack, but when it rotates on the spot. Apart from a scare at the end, the Gaping Dragon falls without too much difficulty. I then head back to Andre, freeing Laurentius on the way up. With a large Titanite shard I found in the depths, I ascend my longsword to +6 and grab another longsword which I upgrade to +5 with the souls from Gaping Dragon. I kill Havel for his ring, which I never used, and then head back to Undead Asylum where I trade the rubbish to Snuggly for a Titanite chunk, as well as a cracked red eye orb from Firelink for 2 purging stones in case I get cursed. I kill the 2 Black Knights for the red Titanite chunks and grab the Peculiar Doll and the rusted iron ring. I then challenge Stray Demon, only to get swatted immediately. On my second attempt, I managed to not die instantly and fight the boss as normal. Even with charcoal pine resin, my damage is pitiful, taking more than 5.5 minutes to slay the boss and get my first Titanite slab. With that done, I grabbed some items from the undead female merchant, and the weapon and armor smith boxes from Andre. The next area to tackle is Blighttown. I grabbed the Firekeeper soul there and upgrade my flask to +3. I then grabbed the items at the base of Blighttown and killed the giant leeches for large and green shards, the rusted iron ring making moving around here so much easier. I kindle the bonfire and fight Mildred, which would have been easy if not for all the flies swarming me. For fighting Quelaag, I use purple moss so that I don't have to fight the boss poisoned, but unfortunately I get stuck in an impossible to escape situation in her lava and die. I was able to defeat her on my next attempt, the gold pine resin greatly increasing my damage output and made the fight much shorter. Now that Quelaag has been defeated, I can ring the second bell of awakening. At Quelaag's sister's bonfire, I reinforce my +6 longsword to +8, but before I headed to Sen's fortress, I go into Demon Ruins and fight Ceaseless Discharge. 7 punches later, and the largest boss in the game goes down. With the lava mostly gone, I can head further into Demon Ruins and grab the large flame ember. I then head into Sen's fortress, starting Siegmeyer's questline and grabbing the gold serpent ring, the soul of a hero, and the large Titanite shards scattered throughout. I then talk to the crestfallen merchant and buy some more large Titanite shards and some green blossoms. I then get the cage key and upgrade my +8 longsword to +10. After fighting past Rickard, I get a rare ring of sacrifice and then take the cage lift back down. I then head down to the base of Blighttown, where I equip the gold serpent ring and activate 10 soft humanity to get the best drop rate. Next, I kill all the giant leeches for more large and green shards and then head to the Great Hollow. There are 2 of each type of Titanite chunks scattered throughout. After grabbing them, I start killing each of the 10 crystal lizards. I was hoping at least 2 of the crystal lizards would drop me red Titanite chunks, but unfortunately none of them did. I guess I'll just have to do with 2 Titanite slabs instead. After making another round of the leeches, I head back to Firelink to have Frant break the blue and white chunks into green shards and then some of the green shards into regular shards. I then reinforce my heater shield to +10 and my helmet and armor to +6. I then head into the catacombs and ascend my +5 longsword to fire +8 of Vamos. Using the gold serpent ring, I get a skull lantern from a necromancer. To avoid the bone wheels, I use the catacomb skip where you roll here and there, and then you're just a short run from Pinwell's boss room. With my upgraded fire longsword, Pinwell takes less than 10 hits to go down, dropping me the Mask of the Father in case you were wondering. I then head up to Undead Asylum to trade the Pyromancy Flame I got for freeing Laurentius for another red Titanite chunk, and the Skull Lantern for the Ring of Fog. I then head back to Sen's fortress to fight the Iron Golem. But first I spend the souls I have on more green blossoms, and then kill the Firebomb throwing giant so he can't interfere with the boss fight and to get another Titanite chunk. The fight against Iron Golem wasn't difficult, I didn't get hit even once. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get it to fall off the platform, but it was still a quick and easy fight nonetheless. After arriving in Anor Londo, I equipped the Ring of Fog to sneak past the enemies to the Great Bow Archers. After making it past the hardest point in all of Dark Souls, I speak to Siegmeyer, pick up this Titanite chunk, and at the Giant Blacksmith, ascend my +10 longsword to a Lightning Longsword +5. Now it's time for the Anor Londo Slam Jam Bros, the first truly challenging boss of this game. My strategy is to defeat Ornstein first and then Smaug, as it'll be easier to separate Ornstein from Smaug than vice versa, and I find Smaug's second stage to be easier than Ornstein's. That said, this is still much easier said than done. Green blossoms prove invaluable in this fight, as they do with every boss since. On my 4th attempt, I got really close until I had a dozen more attempts with no luck, until for the second time I managed to get into the second phase, and this time I was more careful and managed to defeat Super Smaug for good. With the Lord Vessel in my possession and placed, I actually head into Darkroot Garden next for the Moonlight Butterfly. Thanks to this boss's heavy weakness to fire, I was able to defeat it on its first landing. With the souls from this boss, plus more from feeding items to Framt, I purchased the Crest of Artorias from Andre and head down to face Sif. first grab the Hornet Ring and then start the boss fight. I die on the first 2 tries, but the third attempt was successful. For comparison, even though my lightning longsword is at max damage, it still took me almost twice as long to kill Sif as in the crossbows only challenge, proving that crossbows aren't completely useless. I then head for Darkroot Basin to kill the Hydra and then free dust from the Golden Crystal Golem, the Rusted Iron Ring making both of these tasks easier since it means I'm no longer slowed down by the deep water. With the first step of unlocking the DLC done, I purchase some more Purging Stones and head for the Duke's Archives. Making my way through to face Seath, I put on my Ring of Sacrifice, but end up getting cursed, so it doesn't activate. In hindsight, I should have put on my rare Ring of Sacrifice instead. Thankfully, I came prepared with Purging Stones. From the Archive prison, I fight through the Pasakas and after a couple of tries, get the exit key. From the main room, I open the bookshelf shortcut and grab the giant cell key. Back into the prison, I grab the Firekeeper's Soul and upgrade my flask to +4 in Firelink. Now it's into the Crystal Cave to fight Seath. I first pop 10 humanity for the added curse resist and start the fight. Unfortunately, Seath uses his Crystal Barrage attack, and with nowhere to run, I take damage faster than I can heal and die. For my subsequent attempts, all I need to do is retrieve my humanity and I'll be... Another factor for making this boss fight difficult is that getting directly hit by any of his attacks is almost certainly a death sentence. This fight takes me a fair few attempts, getting cursed post-mortem a few times. My strategy involves luring Seath towards the Primordial Crystal and having him break the crystal himself with his breath, leaving him more open for counterattack. Then I attack him until he initiates a close-range breath attack, which is when I run away until he starts a medium or long-range breath attack, and I'll run in and attack him some more, repeating until the Father of Sorcery is vanquished.
Hey, you! Are you enjoying this video? If you are, please consider leaving a like and maybe even subscribing for more content like this. Anyway, thanks for watching and back to the video.
I go to Blighttown's base to proceed Siegmeyer's quest and free Sieglund from a Crystal Golem. I then go back and kill the Crystal Golem in the beginning of Duke's Archives for the Broken Pendant, as I forgot to grab it on my first way through. I now make my way to New Londo Ruins, fighting my way through the Ghostfuck House to get the key to the seal. With the water drained, I fight my way to the Abyss Drop, killing all the Dark Wraiths with the Gold Serpent Ring along the way for Titanite chunk drops, and grabbing the very large Ember so I can fully upgrade my shield. For the Four Kings fight, I don't have enough damage to pass the DPS test, so the fight gets increasingly more difficult the longer it goes on. With each attempt, I kill all the Dark Wraiths for more chunks, and on my way through to my second attempt on the boss. Staying close to the Kings makes you take less damage from their attacks, but if any of the other Kings decide to join in, I'm pretty much screwed. On attempt number Lucky 7, I managed to defeat the Four Kings and claim the other Lord Soul Shard. I now upgrade my shield to +15 and kill the Sen's Gate Giant and the Black Knights in Undead Burg and Parish for more Titanite chunks. Now I head to Demon Ruins for Demon Fire Sage, who although takes less hits than Stray Demon, its behaviour was a lot more annoying, but in the end the Reskin Demon goes down without too much difficulty. Next is Centipede Demon. I first go to the area on the right for a larger fighting arena, having just enough fire resistance not to die from the lava. With the larger space to fight, this boss isn't that hard. The Centipede Demon gets stomped on without much trouble. Making sure not to do a Kyle and run into the lava without first equipping the orange shard ring and die, I head into Lost Izalith. I grab the soul of a great hero, rest at this bonfire, and open the shortcut to Quelaag's sister. I then head to the Poison Swamp area, where I rescue Siegmeyer and grab these 2 red Titanite chunks and the red Titanite slab. The Bed of Chaos is the next boss to face. I start by breaking the left orb and then quitting out. I then run to the right orb and do the same. I then wait by this route for the boss to attack, and then run towards the bridge. Once she's stopped attacking, I run inside and then... Unfortunately, this attack was completely unavoidable, and with my low health and fire defense, it was an instant death. So I try again, making sure she wastes a firestorm attack when I'm sliding down, and then I run inside and slay the Bed of Bad boss design yet again. I now upgrade my fire longsword to +10. I then head down the catacombs into the Tomb of the Giants. Unfortunately, the rules of the challenge don't allow for the Sunlight Maggot, so I have to make it through the darkness by instinct alone. From the first bonfire, I walk back to Firelink and kill Griggs for the Slumbering Dragoncrest Ring, as it reduces the aggro range of enemies in the Tomb of the Giants. Wandering through the darkness, with a bit of dumb luck, I land close to the second bonfire. It's now time for Rave Lord Nito. Because of this challenge's rules, I can't equip heavy armor for a tank and spake strategy, which would be useful here and for 4 kings. Most of the difficulty of this fight comes from the 3 skeletons, as my defenses and health are low enough that they pose a significant threat, whilst Nito's attacks are slow and easy to avoid. After dying a couple of times, I kindle the bonfire to replenish my Estus and proceed to get cucked by Paladin Leroy. After an intense game of dodged skeletons, the spooky boy crumbles to the ground. My next target is Gwyndolin, but first I need to go back to the catacombs to grab the Darkmoon Sounds Ring, since they don't have any ranged attacks to hit the Guinevere illusion with. Well, I actually could hit her with firebombs or throwing knives, but I didn't think of that. Apart from a couple of deaths to being stupid, the Gwyndolin fight is really easy, since this boss has some of the simplest attack patterns, and after a bit of a chase, the son, daughter, technically son of Gwyn bites the dust. Next is the Painted World of Ariamus, where the Ring of Fog helps me get past the enemies better. After dying to these bone wheel motherfuckers a few times, I open the door to Priscilla's arena. 3 hits are all I need to break her invisibility, and once she's revealed, beating her is easy peasy. With the crossbreed crossed off the list, it's time for the DLC, but first I head to Ash Lake to complete Sigmar's quest for a Titanite slab. Next, I kill Quelaag's sister for a Firekeeper soul to upgrade my Estus flask to +5, being almost a full restore at this point. Before the DLC, I'm sitting on about 55 deaths or so, which is nothing compared to the pain I'm about to go through soon. For the Sanctuary Guardian, I use my Fire Longsword instead of my Lightning one, because this boss is quite resistant to lightning. A fairly tricky boss, taking me several attempts to beat it, but it goes down in less than 10 tries, unlike the rest of the DLC bosses. Next up is Knight Artorias, who is the most challenging boss so far, taking me about 25 attempts or so to win. A lot of the difficulty of this boss comes from not knowing when you can attack safely, the constant dodging making green blossoms a necessity in these DLC fights. To stop him from buffing, I need to hit him with 5 attacks, which I only have just enough time to do so, and if he gets his buff off, I'm almost as good as dead. After an hour of attempts, the Abyss Walker finally falls down. I next make it through Ulasil Township, where unfortunately the rules of the challenge prevent me from having a light source, so I can't get the Silver Pendant, which will make my fight with Manus a lot tougher. Using Aloyd's Talisman from Firelink Shrine, I get the Crest Key from the Mimic. Into the Chasm of the Abyss, it's now time to fight Manus. This boss is extremely hard, with almost every mistake being punished by instant death. It only gets harder when he starts casting magic, as without the Silver Pendant you can't reliably avoid it. The Dark Orb Brain was particularly deadly, as it could kill me from full health despite me dodging. After nearly 3 hours of attempts, the Father of the Abyss is done and defeated, adding another 42 deaths to the total. All I can say next is screw Kalameet! After getting Hawkeye Goth to shoot this piece of shite down, I killed the Darkmoon Nidus for a Firekeeper soul and upgraded my flask to +6, now being a full health restore. This boss doesn't leave much in terms of attack opportunities, and his breath attacks are usually insta-kills. This, and that dodging isn't 100% reliable, as I would often get hit despite rolling through the attack, meant for a crazy difficult boss fight. This challenge caused me to have the most deaths to Kalameet of any playthrough, totaling around 68. In total, this took me about 5.5 hours of attempts in order to slay the Dragon of Calamity. It's now time for our showdown with Gwyn. Using the fire longsword because Gwyn is almost immune to lightning, I buff myself with Elizabeth mushrooms to get rapid health regen. Using the Estus after riposte technique, the Lord of Sunlight turns to dust on our first try, which I must say is truly a breath of fresh air after the DLC.
After the extreme difficulty of the DLC bosses, fighting Gwyn is almost anticlimactic, but after hours and hours spent in the DLC, I'm not complaining. It's been quite the journey, but alas, it has finally come to an end. Hopefully, this experience has made me a better player, and my skill will have increased for improved performance in future challenge runs.
That now makes every boss defeated with only the warrior class without leveling. It has been a very difficult but entertaining challenge, and if you enjoyed it, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. The next class on the list is the Knight class, so look forward to that. Anyway, thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, and have a beautiful Dwayne. Bye!